Hello. My throat got notified by cold last week, which is why I didn't put out a video last week. So, yeah, welcome to a new video. Let's talk Ultrakill. Spoilers ahead. Fraud is peak. Legitimately, I've never been this hyped for an update to a game. And Hakata has managed to exceed expectations again. Between the level design, the new enemies on the soundtrack, and just overall the vibes, it feels like I've picked up a game. Again, I'm falling in love with Ultrakill again, and with how much I enjoyed playing the game this layer, I am hyped for Treachery now. And like, I've got this new one to P-rank everything again. Let's get into the levels. So 8-1 might be a historical level for me in terms of how new and exciting everything felt. Whether it's the Ultrakill team flexing their skills with the non-Euclidean level design, shout out Peter, the lore implications or the fake ending or the fake out ending during the middle of the level, 8-1 is a very Ultrakill way to start off the new layer. This level is where we're introduced to the Providence, which is the first new enemy for this layer. It's a lower angel and is relatively easy to deal with. The circle in the square. But the lore implications brought upon by this enemy are low-key crazy. The fact that it has eyes, even though it was very much mandated while Gabriel was the judge of hell that nothing could have eyes in hell, means that the doctrine that had been established by heaven is probably being broken down. I'm a lore nerd, so you get used to it. Going past the middle of the level, Ultrakill ramps up the trippiness in Fraud to just a whole new level. There's a portal system at play here, probably, and one complaint I do have about the new layer does become apparent during the final fight. Frame rate absolutely tanks. Dave Newblood has said that the Ultrakill dev team is working on performance fixes, but as of now I've got a 4060 and I'm running the game at 1080p, so I'm not exactly in the top 1% of gamers here, but I have lost a couple P-rank runs to these frame rate issues. But overall, the stage is a strong start to the layer. I'm gonna give it a solid 9 out of 10. I might be a brainlet for saying this, but 8-2 is one of the more confusing levels in the game. During my first attempt, I didn't notice this button next to the shutter, which caused me to spend about 10 minutes looking for something in the stage to just progress. Yeah, looking back at it, I'm probably just mentally disabled, but whatever. On the plus side, there is a secret over here, which is pretty nice to see. It did make me feel like I was going in the right direction, but it's whatever. I think that 8-2 for me is peak level design for this layer. It caused me to feel uneasy while having pretty cool mechanics in place at the same time with the liminal spaces. As for the new enemies, we're introduced to the Death Catcher, who mechanically feels like a Heart of Blood tree. It has pretty cool lore, giving us an insight into how hell fucks up the desires of demons who wish to be like angelic beings, in this case, the idol. As for the Mirror Reaper, I'm a fan. My first attempt with the Mirror Reaper, at least during my first playthrough of the level, it was terrifying. I did not know where it was. I feel like the brainlet theory might be right. I might legitimately have just lower amount of brain cells, whatever. It had me shooting the mirror and trying to enter the mirror. The name is the Mirror Reaper. How was I supposed to know I just turned invisible and I'm supposed to look at the mirror to aim? Once you do get used to it, it's a pretty squishy enemy. It bleeds a lot. Put a screwdriver into it, I don't know, just push out damage and just bombard it with whatever weaponry you have at hand. It dies. Overall, I'd give the level a strong 9.5 out of 10. I came in expecting to be just a bit woozy, and Hakata just absolutely delivered on it. A-3 is confusing and honestly somewhat underwhelming level to me, which is not something that I thought I'd say, considering how creative the stage is. So the level starts off strong with a fake out to make you think that the stage will have you play through an earlier level. Immediately throws you into this amalgamation of levels. You get past that and are shown this hallway with moving rooms, setting up the tone for the rest of the level. You get past that, more sliding rooms. Amazing. I'm loving the stage so far. Side note, but the platforms moving upwards are amazing for doing combos with the sharpshooter. Also the hallway just rotating a bunch. Absolute cinema, Hakata. You done it again. After a few more upside down shenanigans, we make our way back to Gabriel, where we're introduced to the powers. at least like the Gabriel 3-1 fight. Now, I think they're my favorite new enemy introduced in this layer, purely because of the voice line commands. Because they shout out their attacks pretty clearly, and it's less clutter on my screen that I need to focus on. I can tell what's happening at any given time with these guys, and the fact that Dave Oshry, he got his wife to voice act them is kind of funny to think about. Also, fun fact, the powers don't attack you together. They attack you one at a time, unless you attack them first, which is a neat detail that ties into the lore. Speaking of which, the powers are younger angels that used to be followers of Gabriel, but have been slipping up in their methods of following ever since he became the judge of hell and stopped having a presence in heaven. They carry around this golden arm to look more like the fully formed archangels they aspire to be, which is honestly such a cute detail. It's kind of like how children mimic grown-ups, which is in line with them being referred to as younger angels. Pretty easy minor enemies to kill, I'd say. Now, next up we have my favorite room in the entire level, which in which we get to deal with another power. Again, they dealt it pretty easily thanks to all the blood bags in the room, and I got to watch this happen. Did not know this was a thing that happens. Very cool. Now the stage goes downhill. I don't understand the right side of the hallway. So if we all remember 2-3, was it? The one where we introduced to the hideous mask. It was a pretty linear level, if I'm not wrong. But over here, the red part of the door is really confusing. I kill everything in this room and all the doors would open. Cool, what now? I don't understand what I'm supposed to do in the crushing section. Anytime I try to slide over the crushers, I just fall out of the map. This is probably what's keeping me from P-ranking the entire layer, until I decide to watch a YouTube video about this and feel dumb for not doing something obvious. Anyhow, blue door time. No more disappointments. The blue door brings about an extremely interesting mechanic, more so than the crushing mechanic or whatever that is. The 4-dimensional stages. It's kinda like there's 2 stages in one place, which there probably are if you look at the BTS. But it kind of reminds me of this one video I watched about somebody making a 4-dimensional game using Minecraft as a placeholder. Having to balance and adapt your playstyle around 2 sets of enemies is genuinely pretty interesting gameplay. It's something new, it's fresh. And putting Providences in the water, where one of your one-shot options, your electric rail cannon, is basically disabled. Again, it adds to the challenge. The yellow grappling point part offers some breathing room before we move on to the final part of the blue area, where we get to deal with the death catcher sending 2 times the enemies. You have to watch your style since blood enemies don't give any style, and you have to make sure your movement isn't bringing in too many problematic enemies. The effectiveness of sock-ons is thankfully greatly limited, which means that cheesing the room is a lot more difficult. You have to legitimately just rely on raw damage over here, which is something that Hakita seems to be moving towards throughout this layer, which I'll go over in the 8-4 section a lot more clearly. So blowing up these stars is also fun. Finally, we get to the trippiest part of the stage, the space arena thing. I get it, it looks like a Roblox hobby. Moving on. Fast forwarding a bit through all the gravity changing parkour, the idle Hideo Kojima and basic enemies, we get to the final fight of the stage. It's dual wielding time, and I haven't had this much fun with the final fight ever. The game throws in a power for good measure, and it's another fight to fill up the blood tree. I've got a soft spot for dual wield fights, especially stuff like 4-1 and what else? Where else did we get dual wielding? I don't know, dual wielding is fun. We should have more stages with dual wielding if you ask me. So overall, the stage gets a strong 8.5 out of 10. Which could easily be a 10 out of 10 if the red door was a bit more intuitive. And by a bit more, I mean a lot more. I still don't understand the red door. So, boss fight time. After going through a gauntlet of enemies, we get to the boss of the layer. Carry on. While Leah in the recording goes through the gauntlet, I gotta say that the up and down movement does feel pretty limiting. I'm still not sure how the blue lasers are dodged, and having just one parryable attack feels kinda wrong for Ultrakill. While keeping your style up is pretty easy considering how long I managed to remain at the max style during this clip, I still feel like there should be a lot more counterplay to the boss. Again, not sure what the best way to kill the boss is, but I did manage to P-rank it after my second try. The stage does end with Geryon being skewered into a thingy in front of an audience, the lore implications of which I'm not sure of. Is Hell like kind of praising Weavon for like a good performance? I don't know. Overall 8 out of 10 boss. For bigger bosses I preferred Leviathan and Corpse of King Mios. More movement or parries could fix the boss. It feels weird to have the Providence Orbs be my only fast movement option here. Overall, I'd give the layer a strong 9 out of 10. It feels like peak Ultrakill, and it's beginning to feel like Ultrakill. It's defining its own genre. It's not Devil May Quake anymore, which is an amazing thing to have happen to a game that you've been following for as long as I've been following Ultrakill. Anyhow, I've been Vilya, and thank you all for watching.